This week in disc golf, MCO is delayed due to threats against a player, highlighting a larger issue for the DGPT than trans athletes' inclusion. An on-court performance from Simon and Tattar. Is McBeth back or did he never leave? Oh yeah, it's major week, and so much more. What's going on, all you disgenerates? Jefferson, the minivan, and me, Swiss Cheese, you know, the one with all the holes in his game, are currently giving the van a break at an Airbnb in Peoria. Yeah, we fancy like that. And we're here for all the major action at Champions Cup. You're watching This Week in Disc Golf, where we cover all things disc golf from the past week. Just a day earlier, that's all, with us hitting a recap for Friday. This episode is brought to you by Dark Ace. Charlie and the team provide merch and a metal edge, never intending to please the masses, but creating products that are badass, heavy, and a great you to everything and everyone, just like the metal they love. Go check out the Dark Ace Army and all their products over there on their website. And while you're at it, let Charlie know we sent you, as this ad is a surprise to him also. I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, the disgenerates who contribute to the Patreon page, and everyone who subscribes. With your support, you guys help take our channel to the heights we've already achieved, and even more in the future. Let's jump into all the action already. Music City Open highlights Nashville, the Tennessee disc golf scene, and fans that feature one of the largest crowds seen on the tour thus far this season. And as much as many would love to keep the narrative to be surrounded by the fact that two of the biggest names in the sport, in Lizotte and Kristin Tattar, repeated at this event, instead of having the difficult conversations surrounding the threats made against the player at the DGPT event. Player safety still needs to be addressed, and it's long overdue. First, no player life should be threatened because they want to play the sport we love. It goes against the traditions, principles, and rules of the game. Despite the comment sections wanting to make this an inclusivity issue filled with people on both sides of the debate admonishing the other's views. A already difficult debate prior to what occurred this weekend. But now with threats of violence, it has become more evident that it is now overly politicized. How you sit on the fence is neither here nor there for me, nor does this debate at this point affect anything in how the DGPT and pdga will respond for the remainder of the year, as the rules are set and in place. Vote, run, protest, make all your voices heard to the elected officials on either side you are on. Or best case scenario, support the players who support your view. That is how you will create the change that you want, not with threats or violence. But with the threat made to a player, which, let's be honest, impacted every player, volunteer, spectator, and vendor this weekend in attendance and at home, should highlight to everybody on each side of the debate just how ill-prepared the DGPT, the sport's major professional league, is in the protection of their athletes and spectators. The DGPT did act swiftly and in the best interest of the players. First, by taking the threat seriously, halting play, contacting the authorities, waiting for additional staff, and giving a team of security to stay with Natalie Ryan on the course during the rest of the tournament. Credit should be given to all those efforts, especially the staff who responded greatly. If you have followed along with us for some time, know we at the World champion efforts to further professionalize the sport. Whether it's tee pads, baskets, rules, and player and spectator safety should be no different or excluded. I know many of you have yet to attend a professional event. First, I recommend it if possible. But trust from someone who has attended events across half of this country for nearly 6 months, the safety protocols for player and fans and the lack of them would astonish many. Should start off with the accessibility at DGPT events is truly unlike any other professional event, and in part, it's what makes the experience special. I hope this sport doesn't lose that, but the current accessibility with the wrong person could quickly become a liability. When the event restarted, it was the first time at a DGPT event, major, even world championships, I have ever attended that my backpack was searched prior to the event, a tradition practiced at nearly every professional event across the globe. The security, if you want to call them that, more often includes a couple of DGPT employees and volunteers who were promised a shirt and lunch at the gates, whose primary focus is checking in spectators and ensuring people have passes. The players, on the other hand, simply are forced to fend for themselves, walking to and from the event with no security and just as exposed player-only sections. The biggest names in the game with no security or volunteers walking with them to ensure that they get to their course or their car, in some case even their homes, safely is ridiculous. You can't tell me that f***ing Chuck E. Cheese can get an escort at an 11-year-old birthday party, but Kristin Tattar, the premier name in the game, gets no help wading through both the fans and creeps stroking their disc to get signed before her round? Make that make sense. Does that sound safe or how you would expect a professional organization to behave? Disc golfers are a great community and filled with great people, but giving possibly the wrong person this much access is scary to think of. Fans often can witness where players' parking is at nearly every stop, unintended player warm-up areas with only nylon ropes for protection, player autograph tents where they're lucky to have Sharpies, let alone someone looking out for the players, while fans are mere arm's lengths away, while also knowing players' exact tee times, or for a wrong person with ill intent, the exact time and location specific players will be. A scary thought when you consider the possible ramifications. Sadly, it doesn't stop there. With even more officials on hole 1 than any other point during players' rounds, none are enforcing or giving a security presence. Their primary focus is checking in the players from a table or announcing the player's name. These guys don't even prevent fans from bothering the players for autographs in these areas. Before the thought enters your head, the solution is not more volunteers. Shit, we can't get enough volunteers to score every card each day. There's only one real solution. The DGPT should be just as concerned in investing money in their product, the players, and their safety as they are to helping their bottom line. Anything less is unbecoming of any organization that wants to be considered professional. DGPT can still add security measures and still not lose out on the player access while giving everyone more peace of mind. And in all honesty, it's long overdue. Jeff Springs was on this week's Tour Life just last night and provided more information surrounding what happened at MCO, clarification of the threat, and how the DGPT will respond moving forward, scheduling meeting with professionals surrounding event security, and adding bag check security moving forward. All right moves in the right direction, but player and fans need to continue to hold the tour accountable of what Jeff Spring has said.
McBeth at 69.
I just told myself, you got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
Back to the golf action, which featured the two biggest names in the sports win again. Simon was the star of the weekend, saving us from Eagle dropping out due to injury, the lowest player turnout of the season, player threats, and for most, a 420 haze. Not bad considering he himself nearly dropped out. Simon had one of the most dominating performances on the young season, despite what some others have said. Only started the event shooting the hot round of the tournament weekend, a 12 under, 1076 rated round that was 2 strokes ahead of Jakub Semerad. The round featured 2 absolute dime highlight putts from distance over 60 feet. His putt was on fire, coming in with the longest total putt this weekend and 3 putts over 60 feet. That doesn't even include the 70-footer, which was considered a throw-in. Gained 9.23 strokes on the putting green over the entire weekend, while also certainly increasing the sales of those pixels at the same time. Simon, I understand you might be getting to this episode late with everything going on back home, but hook me up with a couple of those pixels already. Round 2 saw Simon shoot his worst round, which only had 5 competitors in the entire field shooting better than him that day. The only 5 over the entire weekend. One of those 2 was the young superstar, hungry for a win to battle AB. Gannon Buhr shot an 11 under the hottest round of the day to climb him onto lead card for the final day and 2 strokes behind Simon. The other, a resurgent Paul McBeth, who said, "Excuse me, bitch," to all those who said he was washed. Paul shot a 9 under and was also 2 strokes behind Simon and looked the best he has all season heading into the first major of the year. Was solid off the tee, finishing in the top 5 in C2 regulation, and had one of his best putting performance on the year. Also had some huge misfortune and rollaways, and of course a theme for the weekend, spit outs. The other to land on the final day lead card seems to land there every year, Chris Dickerson, who responded well after announcing his health issues he is facing. Check out Last Twig for details if you want more. An absolute banger card is some of the veterans of the game making a statement of their own on a season whose narrative has been surrounded by the young guns' performances. The final day would display even further Simon's weekend dominance, starting off going 8 under through the front 9, extending his lead and dreams of playing hot cross buns on a $6,000 Gibson trophy. So far ahead, he was able to let off the gas on the back half, finishing 10 under and securing the win. His 7th win now and most since May 2022. Certainly living up to the hype in that contract already. Paul battled enough to secure a solo second place finish, his first since his injury and last season's PCS Open victory. Because I have been known to make jokes on Paul's outfit choices in past episodes, can we shout out the GOAT's final day fit? Looking crispy. Paul, leave the paisley and flower print for those videos of wives who dress their husbands alike, and Big Germ, of course. Less is more, my guy. I know this finish and Paul's past heroics over at Northwood has everyone buzzing, and it wouldn't be a surprise for anyone. But he hasn't played there since 2022, and the layout is far different for the major, and the course will behave differently during this time of year. Keeping in the veteran theme, and I'm not talking the baskets, this time Ricky Wysocki, and of course, Chris Dickerson tied for third at 23 under over the weekend. That and Big Germ hit a huge putt on the final hole for a top 5 finish, his first since 2019. Over in the FPO action, Holland Hanley came out with a blistering hot round, 7 under, 10 birdies on the day, and plenty of C2 highlight putts of her own, hitting 5 of those on day 1 alone. Had a disaster hit with an improbable lost disc on the shortest hole of the tournament, and the disc slid underneath a rock on the fairway. It forced her to re-tee and resulted in a double bogey. The day would put her ahead of Silver Saarinen, and most importantly, 4 strokes ahead, 2-time world champion Tattar, would be chasing her down for the remainder of the weekend. Tattar would close the gap on day 2, as both would head into the final day tied at 10 under, as their battle would be the only on-the-course storyline the FPO would have. Tattar would need to chase down Holland again, as 2 early bogeys in the first 3 holes dropped her 2 strokes behind Hanley early on the final day. Got one of the strokes back on hole 5, and after a turkey on holes 7 through 9, would have a 3-stroke lead with 9 to play. Hanley's nerves seemed to have gotten to her, as she recorded 4 C1 misses in that Tattar comeback stretch, with plenty of opportunities to extend leads or close deficits that she could not take advantage of. Not sure if it's competing with Tattar or her needing a win for her first DGPT title, or to shut down all that talk surrounding her only victory at Throw Pink. Yet the narrative of her not being able to close out victories is growing with each and every one of these final day hiccups. Henna Blomroos with a 4 under final day moved her onto the podium, her first of the season, with a 3rd place finish. Henna has had a rough season despite only falling outside the top 10 twice on the year. Season marred with more putting woes while dealing with an injury also. But a final day like that is a boost heading into the major, the Champions Cup. Guys, it's major week, so let's hit you with some fast notes. And if you guys are looking for daily recaps of the major, stay tuned to the channel as we continue to pump those out to you the following day of action. The course will not be Northwood Black, as 3 holes have been removed and some of their gold layouts have been added to replace those holes. The course conditions will cause ground play to be slower than as seen at Ledgestone, but with Illinois being in early spring, there might be some larger gaps and some local routes to take advantage. The weather looks bleak, both cold and rainy, but doesn't hinder the storylines. Eagle McMahon is slated to make his season debut, while many of the European ladies in Evelina Salonen, Heidi Lani, and Henna play their first event here ever. Shoot, even Tattar has only had 2 rounds on this track that I highlighted already that it's not the same. Ricky Wysocki and Missy Gannon statistically seem to be the favorites. But let's not forget Calvin Heimberg, who has a share of this course record, along with Cole Redolin. Owen Scoggins and Heidi are tough in the woods also. Now let's get to some quick hitters. Had a blast at MCO, meeting plenty of new homies. Great to see the boys at Brixton in person. Chilled with courtesy violation on the course. Loved to see Stash Discs to search for used gems. And got to see the dye lab of husband and wife team over at InkMe. Made us both a custom Disc Golf World dyed disc. Look, I'm not trying to push you disc or merch. There are plenty of other content creators busy doing that. I'm here to sell you on the culture, and after meeting with all these great people and fans, they are contributing to the culture of disc golf in their own unique way. Zach Melton absolutely killed it on the broadcast from what I've heard. Nicola Castro with his new cut is out here looking like Butthead in that SNL skit. Phil Deloney found a new workout strategy using the comment section to hit those gains. Every comedian and now every disc golf pro has a podcast of their own. Luke Humphreys and Paige Pierce entered the field. So many I can't keep up anymore. But lucky for us, our boy Torito DG has got us covered. Pros have begun to chirp this weekend with criticism of holes and revealing that their stats are not correct. You had Silas and Andrew Presnell both came out on their socials telling people their stats were wrong. Drew Gibson stayed relevant on top of his weekly practice rounds, hitting on people's comments of veteran baskets, tour stop hole designs, specifically 12 at Northwood, and also announcing he's running for PDGA board member all this week. Manabu Kajiyama went and captured his 7th consecutive Tokyo Open title, and just to make the ratings guys cry, a 1064 rated second round. That and your boys got the invite to hang with the GK Pro guys at their Airbnb and watch the filming of one of their new Jeopardy videos. Hell of a good time with plenty of laughs. Be on the lookout for that in the near future. And guys, that wraps up this week in disc golf. Of course, we are in Illinois for the major, so if you're a fan and you see us, make sure to stop and say hello. This tour run takes a break after this event, but we'll still maintain our normal coverage along with live companion stream during the live coverage. If you've stayed this long, thank you. If you've enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support the boys while we're out here living in a minivan. And if you want more, check out all the previous episodes and all the content we continue to pump out.